The small town of Ridgewood, Texas was the kind of place where everyone knew each other. Children rode bikes on quiet streets, neighbors waved from their porches, and the local diner served the same families every morning. But there was one man in town who didn't get waves or smiles. He got silence. And sometimes fear. His name was Marcus Kane. Marcus was a tall, muscular biker in his late 30s. He had broad shoulders, a thick beard, and a long scar running across his left eyebrow. He always wore a black leather jacket, faded blue jeans, and heavy boots that echoed loudly when he walked. Every afternoon at exactly 4:00 p.m., Marcus would ride his roaring motorcycle down Main Street. The loud engine made windows shake and conversations stop. Mothers would pull their children closer. Shop owners would glance nervously through their windows. People whispered about him. Stay away from that biker. He looks dangerous. He already was in prison. No one knew the truth. They only saw the tough exterior, the tattoos, the scars, the silence. Marcus never argued. He never tried to explain himself. He simply rode through town alone. One rainy evening, the town was quieter than usual. Dark clouds covered the sky, and thunder rumbled in the distance. Most people stayed indoors, watching TV or finishing dinner. At the edge of town, a small grocery store called Henderson's Market was about to close for the night. Inside, a young cashier named Emily Carter was counting the money in the register. She was only 22 years old, working late to support her younger brother after their parents passed away. The store owner, Mr. Henderson, had already gone home, leaving Emily to lock up. Suddenly, the front door burst open. A masked man rushed inside, holding a knife. "Give me the money," he shouted. Emily froze. Her hands trembled as fear filled her chest. The knife gleamed under the fluorescent lights, and the sound of thunder outside made everything feel even more terrifying. "I don't want any trouble," Emily whispered. The robber slammed his hand on the counter. "Hurry up!" he yelled. Emily's heart pounded as she reached for the cash drawer. Tears filled her eyes. She felt completely helpless. Outside, the rain poured heavily onto the empty streets. And then a loud motorcycle engine echoed nearby. The robber didn't notice, but Emily did. Her eyes widened as she looked toward the glass door. Through the rain, she saw the familiar silhouette of a man stepping off a motorcycle, Marcus Kane. Marcus had stopped at the store to buy a bottle of water before heading home. He noticed the lights still on and the door slightly open. Then he heard shouting. Without hesitation, Marcus pushed the door open and stepped inside. The robber turned quickly, startled by the sudden presence. The man shouted, waving the knife. Marcus didn't move. His face remained calm, steady, and fearless. "You don't want to do this," Marcus said in a deep, controlled voice. The robber laughed nervously. "Mind your business, biker." Marcus slowly raised his hands, showing he wasn't armed. But his eyes stayed locked on the robber. "I said leave," Marcus repeated. For a moment, everything went silent, except for the sound of rain hitting the roof. Then the robber lunged forward. In one swift motion, Marcus stepped aside, grabbed the man's wrist, and forced the knife to the ground. The weapon clattered loudly against the tile floor. Within seconds, Marcus pinned the robber to the ground. Emily stared in shock. She had never seen anything like it. Marcus held the man firmly until the police arrived minutes later, responding to a silent alarm triggered during the struggle. The officers quickly handcuffed the robber and thanked Marcus for his bravery. "You saved her life tonight," one officer said. Marcus simply nodded. The next morning, news of the incident spread throughout Ridgewood. People gathered outside the grocery store talking about what had happened. For the first time, they weren't whispering in fear. They were speaking with respect. Later that day, Emily stood outside the store waiting nervously. She kept glancing down the street. At exactly 4:00 a.m., the familiar sound of a motorcycle echoed again. Marcus rode slowly toward the store. But this time, no one stepped back. Instead, people watched quietly. Emily took a deep breath and walked forward. "Mr. Kane," she called. Marcus stopped his motorcycle and removed his helmet. "Yes," he asked. Emily's voice trembled slightly. "Thank you for saving me last night." Marcus looked at her for a moment, then gave a small nod. "You're welcome," he said softly. Before he could start his engine again, an elderly man approached. It was Mr. Thompson, a retired teacher who had lived in Ridgewood for over 40 years. "I owe you an apology," Mr. Thompson said. Marcus looked surprised. "We all judged you without knowing you. the old man continued, "but you showed us what kind of man you really are." One by one, other townspeople stepped forward. A mother smiled. A shop owner waved. A teenager gave a respectful nod. For the first time since Marcus arrived in town, he wasn't alone. As Marcus rode down Main Street that afternoon, something felt different. Children didn't run away. Neighbors didn't stare. Instead, people waved. And Marcus, the man everyone once feared, raised his hand and waved back. Because sometimes the strongest hearts are hidden behind the toughest faces. And sometimes, all it takes is one brave moment to change how the world sees you.